Hai guys, kembali dengan saya Keren Ninja Gaming. Saya lagi mau aduh, HP saya jatuh. Iklan. Nope. Just no. Aku mau coba reaction ke sebuah video. Tadi share my story. Kita akan coba react ke My Dangerous Boyfriend Not Love. Wih, sumpah.
Ini ada silver chest yang gratis, kita buka lagi. Nah, kan?
Bentar.
Tomoe Gozen, Orewa dapat commander baru, mantap sekali.
Diam lu iklan.
Hey, I'm Veronica, and I grew up in Mexico. My family had always been poor, and one day we decided to move to the US for a better life. But once we arrived, things only got harder. My mom couldn't find a job, so my sister and I were practically homeless. In a last attempt, I decided to find a boyfriend or some kind of man that could support us financially. I mean, I was 21 and rather good looking. I bought a short dress and some high heels. Then I went to the most exclusive bar in our city. A lot of weird guys approached me, and I was willing to say yes to any of them. But, of course, I wanted to see just how well I could do. There was one guy in the corner, sitting right next to an extremely beautiful girl. He was holding her in his muscular arms, and his face was so damn handsome. I normally wouldn't do such things, but I just sat next to him and interrupted his conversation with the other beautiful girl. I said, "Hey, my name is Veronica. You're very handsome." He turned to me and said, "You look good too." I could see he was a playboy. He had been with many girls, and the way he stared into my eyes told me he was dangerous. The other girl got jealous and tried to get his attention back, but he pushed her down the couch to make more space for me. Then I realized just how muscular and strong he was. He put his big arms around me. If he wanted, he could have hurt me so easily, but I'd never felt more attached to a guy. I leaned over to him to try and kiss him, but he pushed me away and said, "You think you can have me that easily?" I said, "I will do anything to please you." And he responded, "Will you?" He pressed me against his big body. I was so small compared to him. After we left the bar, I followed him to his car. I wasn't sure if I should go with him. I had just met him, and I saw in his face that he wasn't a pushover. No, he had no problem to hurt someone, and against my instinct, I went home with him. On the ride, he put his big hand upon my leg. I was wearing a short dress, and his hand went all around my thigh. When we arrived at his home, I realized how rich he was. I asked him what he was doing for a living, and he told me he was a professional athlete. Well, that explained why he was...
Cewek, aku mau kerja yo. Bisa main Idle Legends nggak?
Aku ada level 50 CP 2,2 juta. Aku ada Oracle level 60 CP 3,3 juta.
Aku ada Irmungar level 100 CP 5,5 juta. Aku Raja Angin level 310, Valkyrie level 310, Raja Hitam level 310, Hell level 310 CP 10 juta.
Wah, bagaimana bisa begitu kuat?
Karena aku ikut 10 kali undi. Bukan bisa undi 10 kali. Tiap undi 10 kali bisa dapat hero bintang 5. Jika dapat Hell, luar biasa. Karena kamu orang yang sungguh beruntung. Saat tempur Hell adalah hero dengan ATK tinggi. Sambil berbaring bisa lolos lewat itu. Upgrade dengan santai. Bukan bertebaran pada versi lain bila tidak dapat hero bintang 5.
Yeah, who cares?
So muscular. And we didn't even make it to the bedroom. We made out right on the living room couch. I
Disgusting.
loved the way he put his big hand
Sekali.
around my neck. It was such a thrill. He could have hurt me so easily, but that's what I liked. The next morning I woke up. I asked him for his number, but he said this was a one-time thing.
Kok gak ada suara? Suaranya mana? Hah?
Come and visit him, you know?
Hah? Gak ada suara gitu, jauh lah kita
Hey,
nonton dulu.
I'm Anika.
Oh,
And until the age of 17, I had a perfectly normal life. I was pretty, good in school, and in a happy relationship with my boyfriend Louis. Well, at least that's what I thought. Because one night,
nope.
everything changed. I was on my way back home from ballet practice when a guy ran up to me and threw a bucket full of liquid on my face. At first, I thought it was a prank, but then my face started to burn more and more until I blacked out. When I woke up again, everything was dark. I thought the lights were off, but something was different.
Kita coba lihat ini.
Hi, my name is Kevin,
Hai
and I'd
Kevin.
like to tell you how I met the love of my life. Now, there's something you must know about her straight away. She used to be an exotic dancer. You know the type. They disrobe in front of clients and make everyone in the place very happy. Yes, that is what Lily did for a living, all right. Before meeting her, I thought I was simply too busy to date anyone at all. I worked as a real estate agent and taught private lessons on how to invest their money wisely. I was always earning money, and that made me quite wealthy, but I was also super lonely. Sure, I had friends, but there was something else missing in my life. I refused to accept that I needed a girl to keep me company. I'd always thought that I was above that kind of nonsense, you know? Anyways, to relax after a long day of work, I would usually frequent certain clubs. I didn't feel bad about it. After all, I was single and felt kind
Saya
of
tidak
lonely.
pernah pakai face
They
cam
gave me an
karena
excuse to
ya
have a
nggak
drink,
tahu caranya.
unwind, and enjoy the company of some pretty dancers. A win-win situation, right? My favorite club was the Dirty Pickle. It was classier than its name might suggest, and they made excellent drinks. Plus, the music was half decent, and the company was amazing. All the women there were incredibly beautiful, and they always had big smiles on their faces. They danced most of the time, but sometimes I'd chit-chat with them a bit. Nothing serious, just flirting and bantering in between dances. That all changed when I met the beautiful Lily. When she came over, I almost choked with my drink. She was so stunning. There was something else about her that just stole my breath away. Perhaps it was the way she smiled, or maybe the way she tossed her long hair back. One way or another, I was smitten. I was amazed by her, and I tried talking to her a bit before she actually did some dancing. Usually the dancers don't allow clients to waste too much time talking, but since I paid for the time, they reluctantly accepted it. Eventually, though, I asked her to dance for it and paid her fee.
Free Fire lagi, bosenin lah. Skip.
She was far better than all the others in that club, and in any other I had visited. She was so good that I gave her a big tip, and asked her for another dance. I think I must have paid for 6 or 7 dances that night, and used up all the money I had brought with me that night. I couldn't get enough of her. I started going to the club almost every single night. I couldn't get enough of the beautiful Lily. When she wasn't around, I'd mope around a bit at first. As the weeks went by, I decided that I would only go when she was there. So I asked for her schedule. She was a bit hesitant to give it to me at first, and I can't blame her. I bet there are a lot of creeps who stalked her or bothered her when she was there. Eventually, I earned her trust, and she decided I was all right. So she let me know what nights she'd be at the club, and if her shifts ever changed, she left a note with the bouncers. It took me some time to convince her to give me her number next. At first, I just told her it was so she could text me whenever she was going to be dancing. She didn't really believe that and teased me about it. She called me a schmoozer. I teased her right back, and we always ended up bantering and flirting. It was clear to me that Lily liked me. I know that girls like her have to pretend they fancy the guys they dance for in order to get a nice tip, but that wasn't it. I saw the way she behaved around other guys, and it was nothing like how she smiled when I was around. We had something special, but I understood it wasn't easy for her to admit she had feelings for me. After all, dating while being an exotic dancer wasn't easy. She could get in trouble if I got jealous, it could be a real mess. Anyways, it took me some time and a lot of text, but eventually she agreed to go out on a date with me after her shift. I paid for dances all night long while I waited for her to be ready to leave. She made some great tips for me that night, I can tell you that much. The date was amazing, the best I've had in years. I began to realize that I might, after all, need some company in my life. Maybe it wasn't so bad to actually have feelings for a beautiful young woman. She tried to pretend that she wasn't into me at first, but when I asked her on a second date, she said yes immediately. We went just about everywhere together from that night on. I would wait till her shift was over, and when she had a day off, she'd sometimes even come over to my house just to hang out. It felt amazing to spend my time with someone I had deep feelings for. I looked forward to getting off work. Even though I kept making a really good living, it was like I could have the best of both worlds, without needing to sacrifice either my professional nor love lives. Lily was so much fun to have around, and she was an amazing kisser. We didn't rush into showing our love for each other physically. I wanted it to be special, and when it finally happened, it really was. After a few weeks of dating this amazing girl, I finally told my friends about her. They weren't really supportive, if I have to be perfectly honest. No matter who I spoke to, they always said the same. My friends and family warned me that I was going to get my heart broken. Some thought she was using me, and others thought I just liked her because she was hot and danced amazingly. I tried to explain to them that our feelings were real, but everyone seemed super skeptical. I can't say I blame them, though. The truth of the matter is, I probably would have told them the same if the tables were reversed. It seemed strange for someone to be seriously dating an exotic dancer. And if I hadn't known Lily as well as I did, then perhaps I would have thought the same about her. But Lily was amazing. She was smart and interesting and so funny. There was so much about her to like. And when she was around me, it seemed like I was the only person that mattered to her. It made me feel special and cherished. I know it might sound silly, but having never been in love before, it was really a big change for me. Eventually, we became more serious. Everything was okay at first. She'd spend a few nights a week at my place, and we'd go to events together. For instance, when one of my cousins got married, she was my date for the party. My aunt wasn't too convinced about having her there, but Lily was perfectly lovely to everyone in my family and soon won everyone over. The truth of the matter was, though, I ended up doing what I promised I wouldn't do. I began feeling jealous of her dancing for others. I loved her dancing for me, but when I saw her with other men, it broke my heart. It was so messed up. I knew what she did for a living. I had met her that way. I used to be a client. So what right did I have to tell her that she needed to quit? Especially after promising her I wouldn't do such a thing. When we first started dating, Lily had a long talk with me. She explained that she had dealt with jealous boyfriends and that she wasn't willing to go through that again. If I couldn't deal with her job, then maybe we weren't meant for each other. I still remembered that conversation, and at first, I tried to keep my promise. I tried so hard. But after some time, it became impossible to keep up pretending I didn't care if she danced for other guys. I got so stressed out and I tried so hard.
Bentar.
But after some time, it became impossible to keep up pretending.
Kenapa ini dua orang modelnya sama? Satu model ngeles, satunya enggak. Mukanya sama, bajunya sama, celananya sama, rambutnya sama. Model tingginya juga sama. Apa-apaan ini animasi?
I didn't care if she danced for other guys. I got so stressed out and ended up being in a bad mood almost every single day. It was nasty and unfair to both of us, so I decided to be honest with her, and finally let her know that I couldn't deal with her work any longer. She got super upset, but that didn't surprise me at all. After all, she had every right to be mad at me. Lily said she knew I would end up doing exactly this and that she couldn't deal with any of it again. So go over there and give it a like or a follow. And if you find these videos entertaining, share it with your friends and family. We'd really appreciate that.
Goodbye.